Sup, Nerdmigos? I'm Jive talking to our John Norgrove. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review Jive. This time it's a TV series. Well,
Ooh.
kind of. So we watched Warrior Nun on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was a time killer. Yes.
It was fun. It was fun. Let me read the thing. A young woman wakes up in a morgue with inexplicable powers and gets caught up in a battle between good and evil. All right, well, that's not technically right at all.
Well, I mean, that's not wrong, but that doesn't really tell you much about.
Yeah, that doesn't explain nothing. Okay,
at all.
so we're not gonna. This is like a total spoiler-free review. No spoilers. Zero spoilers. So this girl is like.
So she was a quadriplegic.
Quadriplegic.
Car accident
or something.
Her mother
Remember,
died.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
So she's a quadriplegic. All right. The details about that don't matter, but they don't matter whether you know them or not. And frankly, it's a waste of time for the show to tell them. She's a quadriplegic
and an orphan.
In like Spain or wherever, and so like some stuff goes down with these warrior nuns. They install Halo in her back. Right. This is all from the trailers. You should be able to pick that up. They install a Halo in her back. She becomes the next warrior nun.
Yeah.
Leader or whatever it's called. Main Halo bearer or whatever the fuck. And a whole bunch of churchy stuff is going down and a whole bunch of warrior nunnery stuff is going down. This TV series it's pretty.
Yeah.
Right? The CGI is good. The demons look dope. Everybody's like the way that they do stuff is cool. Mm-hmm. The main character does. I mean, she's a good actress. Everybody does a good job in this. I think that this suffers from, like I've said a million times for a lot of movies, just get like 3 other people that don't work for you to look at this shit and make sure that it just makes sense. There's a lot of shit on this that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, this is a paranormal teen romance kind of thing where our main character. No. I mean, like, there's a little bit of romance. With the kid. With the boy. There's a little bit of romance. It was like this much romance. And it's like, one of those ones where your protagonist is the one with all the power and she wasn't before. She's kind of awkward and stuff. So it's very much that.
She goes through the cycles of getting powers, which is first selfish, then secondly not so selfish.
Yeah. And then there's also like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I don't want this responsibility. So she goes through most of these cycles that type of main character in a story does.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of like mystery around the church.
Yeah.
And like what the church is doing and what the nuns are doing and like popery, like pope based stuff.
Yeah, and like a little bit of like science based stuff. So this to me felt very much like The main character felt very Katniss-y from Hunger Games.
It was very Katniss-y.
And the story itself, for me, had like some sprinkles of like Golden Compass kind of stuff in it.
Yeah.
This is actually neither, I think, for or against the church and organized religion at this point in time, because I think it plays everything fairly even there. That just happens to be the setting that it takes place in.
Yeah. This movie or this TV series. It's got nuns and it's got the Catholic Church in it, but they know about as much about nuns and the Catholic Church as I guess.
Yeah, it seems to be fairly inaccurate in terms of certain details.
It seems real inaccurate, and there's a lot of like vagaries. There's a lot of just like vague church stuff.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I enjoyed the show. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed the main character in the second half of the show. In the beginning, she was annoying, but I enjoyed the main character towards the end, and I think that overall the show wasn't bad, but I feel like the show maybe wasn't doing what entertainment is supposed to do. So there's this thing, and I brought this up when we were watching it about halfway in.
Oh, yeah.
I brought this up, and I was like, so when you write a story about a character, right, you in a general idea, right, and whatever, take it with a grain of salt, just some asshole on the internet who drinks too much, but you want to tell the most interesting part of your character's story. And I feel like they're not telling that. At the very end, they started telling that.
Well, I feel like they were telling it
90% of this movie
from the beginning
is the build up to that interesting part. And don't get me wrong, I have opinions about flashbacks and this kind of stuff. Wait until our next TV series review. Cursed. But I feel like they could have started this where they started it. All right, compress the first half of it into like 2 episodes, and it would have been fine. Maybe 2 episodes, and it would have been fine. And then moved more into what's going on. I mean, I understand that like you want to milk every penny out of a thing that you can, but it like there were times in the show where you're watching it and you're just like, why are we watching this?
Yeah,
this felt like boring, and I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it felt like they had written like about a half of a season and was like, this is great, let's stop here.
Yeah.
But then they got the okay for like a full Netflix season.
Maybe this is based on a book.
And then they're padding stuff out. And maybe it is based on a book.
And the first book has all this stuff. And so that's why they did that.
Yeah, there's a lot of setup, and I'm hoping that I thought this was pretty okay. I wasn't like super into it, but I didn't dislike it.
You weren't like repulsed by it.
It was really good, like background sound and stuff happening. It was very slow paced.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that a season 2 of this would be a little bit faster paced, a little bit less interpersonal weird drama and recycling of things a lot. There was a lot of recycling.
All the time with this just like why don't they this? It's that like would they, like will they, won't they, will he, won't he, sort of that like are they gonna be friends? No, they're not gonna be friends. Are they gonna be friends? No, they're not gonna be friends, or whatever, right? But it's like forever. It's just all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I feel like they could have taken some of that out and added a little bit of fleshing out to the stuff that the part of the storyline that deals directly with the church, because these warrior nuns are kind of like a sect that's like a secret sect of the church,
like not even the whole church knows about them.
Yeah,
just
so
like a few people in the church.
Only a small amount of people do. So it's very like secret agenty, but they're nuns and they're warriors.
But
I feel
these
like
nuns
they
are
could have
dressed
spent
very
more
specific,
time.
and they are in public often.
Yeah, so it seems like perhaps more people know about this. Either way, I would have liked to see a little bit more fleshing out on like the general world around them and the fleshing out of it, because usually like you get this kind of thing, especially with like vampire or werewolf things, where they're like, we've been kept secret for so long and we have to hide, but you're not like getting any of that in this.
Well, they're saying those things, but you're not getting any proof to the contrary. Like if they had showed like one like man in the chair, man behind the scenes person, or like lady in the chair, lady behind the scenes person,
or
who's
like some cover-up
who's like cleaning it up or like hiding stuff on the internet, or something, like a throwaway scene would have allowed me to believe that it's not just like obvious public knowledge, because they do that thing, and a lot of shows do this, right? A lot of these paranormal teen kind of shows do this, where it's like, this is a secret, but like, we're having to beat up some demons in a club,
like,
or we're having to beat up some demons in a park full of people, or whatever. And it's just like, how the fuck have you kept this a secret for so long?
Yeah. Well, it's like no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, except that everybody expected the Spanish Inquisition. No one expects that RKO came out of nowhere. Most of the time they come out of exactly where you think they're coming out of. So there's a lot of that in this particular story.
It really cheapens the story. And this is the thing, right? I enjoyed it enough that I'll watch a second season when it comes out. But in reality, this was fairly poorly done, all right, and kind of thin on character development, even though there's a lot of like work towards character development. I think that the twists and reveals were stupendously obvious, and everything was drawn. Everything feels super drawn out. So, and they draw, but they don't draw out the reveal part, right? What they do is they draw out all the setup stuff, and then when the reveal comes, it's at like the very end of some shit, and you're just like, yeah. I mean,
it also, this season ends abruptly.
Oh my god, yeah.
No spoilers. We don't really want to tell you why.
It just stops.
But it just stops
like mid-action.
What you would think is the middle of basically a sentence.
Yeah.
So, but there wasn't like any like, will our heroes win? Stay tuned. You know, that kind of thing. There's like none of that stuff.
So happening. I don't even know if there's going to be a second season. It just
abruptly ends. We thought that actually maybe we had accidentally watched the very last episode, like we had triggered it on Netflix, even though we hadn't watched it. And that was not the case. So this ends incredibly abruptly. And you're like, well, okay, I don't really know what to do with that, so I guess we're just going to watch something else.
Yeah.
If you do get that far, do keep in mind that it ends just like on a dime.
Yeah.
Very strangely. But overall, I would give this like a 5.
They do say the name of the show.
Yeah, they do say the name of the show a few times.
Yeah.
I would give this a 5. This was pretty middle of the road for me.
You mean 5 out of 10? Normally
5
we do things out of 5. So.
Oh, we do things out of 5.
Yeah, so she means a 2.5.
Yeah, so I would give this a 2.5 out of 5. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that great. It was good for background sound when you have like other things going on, you know, and you want to pay attention like every so often. And that's pretty much what I would do with this show.
Yeah, I you know what? I'll give it a 2. I want to really like the show because some of the things were super interesting, and I definitely am going to watch the second season when and if it comes out. But there were some things, some decisions made, and some things done in the show that are just like illogical. Right? Yeah. It's just, you're like, and especially in the beginning of the show, in the first half of the show, you're just like, why is this happening for so long? And there's just a bunch of, like, how are these people finding each other? Where are they? What's going on? I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff that was, like, I wasn't super into in the beginning. The second half picks up a little bit, but it also leans a lot more heavily into the church stuff, which it gets increasingly wrong with time. So, that's fun and weird.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. Yeah. I mean, you know, this is my thing, is put it on while you're doing art in the background. Like, while I was painting and stuff, and having it on was perfect.
Yeah, we had it on while we were playing video games.
You know, while I'm playing video games, it's perfect, right? I feel like if I was like just sitting there and watching it, I'd get rapidly annoyed.
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Right? To me, 2s are watchable.
Yeah.
You know?
So, what did you guys think? Did you watch this? Let us know.
Who's your favorite character? Because in my opinion, the only person worth anything in this show is the girl with 2 shotguns. 2 shotguns warrior nun.
Oh, because badass warrior nun.
Her answer to all problems is 1 shotgun, and if that's not enough, she has a 2nd shotgun.
And if that's not enough, then she's gonna push you off of a cliff.
Yeah, it's bananas. She is hardcore.
Yeah,
holy
she is hardcore.
Shit,
she's got all the one-liners. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's great. Because you know, and everybody else is like using like backflips and like crossbows and like swords and shit, and she's just got like 2 short pump action. Fucking pistol grip shotguns just for murdering people. Like and she's the only one, and she makes jokes about the shotguns, and nobody else is like, hey, why did she get shotguns and I'm using a fucking crossbow?
Yeah. Well, to sum up her personality in the show,
just sassy.
It's very much like that scene in Indiana Jones where the guy with the whip and he's doing all the stuff, and Indiana Jones just busts out the gun and shoots the guy.
Yeah.
And she's Indiana Jones.
Yeah. She's just like no questions asked, no fucks given. But either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been Review Jive. We watched the Warrior Nun. It's on Netflix. Check it out. Do all the stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you guys next time.